Hi friends! We're back and today we're filming our second joint recap. We're going to be talking about whatever we've managed to read so far this July. Anyway, I'm going to go first this time. So, before I talk about the books I've read, let me tell you what I'm currently reading. I am in the middle of reading Invictus by Ryan Groden, and it is really, really good. This one was pitched as Doctor Who meets Firefly meets Guardians of the Galaxy, and funnily enough, the beginning of it actually gave me Star Wars and Star Trek vibes, so that's a lot of fandoms, and I'm really enjoying it so far. I think I just have a thing for like groups of people who are very strong individual characters, but also come together like a family. Plus, there's the whole time travel thing, which I love, and that each member of them, of the crew gets to do something special is really amazing. And so far so good. I'm pretty sure this is gonna get a really high rating from me, so
hey,
don't doubt it.
That looks like the book that I was gonna steal from you that I wasn't supposed
to.
Alright, fair enough. Well, I'm reading two books at the same time because I'm funny that way. I was started with one, but then Alexa was like, you're gonna need to review the other one before like July. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. And so the one that I started with is the Nemesis series by Kaz Lefebvre. And it's lovely, post-apocalyptic, super awesome. There you go. And really interested in seeing how the world unfolds. A little bit, it's starting out slow, but I think it's because it's building up towards like the long kind of 9-book series.
9-book series? Wow.
Thereabouts. There's a lot coming out, right? But so I was able to meet the author at BEA, and I'm happy to connect with them, and maybe you're going to see more of those books and even an interview with the author on Alexa's blog. So it's going to be awesome. This is what I'm currently cramming. This is the Akata Witch book by Nnedi Okorafor, and just, I gotta say, page one, it's like a singularity of creativity. It just draws you in and you can't function anymore because it's that good. It's about a seemingly not magical person finds out that they're actually a magical person of a certain type.
Okay.
Story centers around a young girl named Sunny. She's 13 years old and easily has the makings of a badass, right? And apparently Nnedi Okorafor has written more books, so I think that's gonna be like
stock the rest of them then.
I'm just gonna buy everything.
One of them is being turned into a TV series.
I wouldn't be surprised, and if they did,
and George R.R. Martin is producing it.
I think. You know what? She has. There's a blurb over here that says. Again, let me geek out about this for a minute because there's more vivid imagination in a page of Nnedi Okorafor's work than in whole volumes of ordinary fantasy epics. I got to agree. There's just in one chapter there are 20 billion implications of what the larger world that Sunny's going to discover is going to be like, and it's all framed through obviously kind of like a lot of the Nigerian culture and lore that's in here. So there's a lot of juju, right? Which is
like juju.
I know that's a loaded statement. There's just juju everywhere of all kinds, and she is basically high queen of this stuff. I can't stop talking about it. It's amazing.
Okay, I'm going to randomly interrupt and point out that we're both wearing bookish shirts. He's wearing a shirt that's inspired by the Percy Jackson series, which we both really love, although it's not on our shelves yet because it's back home in the Philippines. And I am wearing a Crooked Kingdom shirt because I love Six of Crows and Leave Bardugan. No, I'll just stand up.
There she is. Ta-da.
Anyway, so in moving on to the books I read, this is a book that actually took me a while to read. I think almost over a week, a little bit. And it's not because it was a terrible book. On the contrary, it was actually a really good book. It's The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell, and it's about a girl named Esta who is a thief with the ability to travel through time. And so she has to go back in time, steal a book, and change the fate of all the people with magical abilities who are known as mages in this world.
Timey-wimey.
It's really good. It's set in New York, and all the mages who come to New York end up trapped there because there's sort of like a surrounding wall that prevents them from leaving without losing their abilities. And it's a twisty story because it's got Esta, but it's also got a couple of other characters with their own motivations. What I liked about it was how you get very immersed in the world, and I thought the story itself was really good. Plus, there's very small romance in this one. It's more like familial and not so trustworthy relationships, I guess. And I also like that it has an open ending, and it's a standalone. Or it could be more, but I think it works best as a standalone. What I didn't so much love was the fact that every time I stopped reading it, like if I had to go to work or if I had to go to sleep, it was really hard to get back into it because it took some time for it to be like everything would settle in your head and you would kind of get into it. And I also felt like the magic wasn't particularly structured well. But aside from that, I ended up really enjoying it, and I actually, the more I think about it now in hindsight, the more I know I really enjoyed it because I think about the characters a lot, and that definitely said something. So yeah, I would recommend checking this one out, only just remember that it's a bit slow, and the magic system is not necessarily as well constructed as some other magic-centered fantasy reads.
here's my one of the things that I did read from the BEA haul that I had. It's called The Marriage Pact. It's almost like half a marriage guide woven into a suspense thriller, which is very obscure and very strange, but very well written, very, very cool. I appreciated the ending, which is really what thrillers are all about, right? It's always about how our characters just don't know what's going on. So it's about a married couple who gets invited into the marriage pact by somebody that they sort of barely know that attended their wedding.
That's creepy.
I know, and they have to live by all of these rules in order to preserve their marriage. And they have these nice little cultic lead-in questions like, hey, do you want your marriage to last forever? Absolutely, yes. But also, don't tell anyone ever about the pact. And that's clue number one, that it's probably not going to end well. But it did end pretty well. It was written well. The ending was written well. I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, don't say anything.
And if you want anything different, it's definitely a departure from the thriller genre. So Marriage Pact is cool.
Next book for me is Daughter of the Burning City by Amanda Foody, another standalone fantasy, which is very, very rare. This one is set in a festival known as the Gomorrah Festival, and it's basically just a festival of debauchery and circus-type acts, freak shows, menagerie, all of that stuff. And the main premise of the story is that the main character, Serena, is an illusion worker, and she has created a family of illusions, and together they are the freak show for the festival. And she loves her family, so when one of the illusions gets murdered, and so she is trying to figure out the mystery behind who could murder an illusion and why they're murdering the illusions. And I'm very torn on this one because I think the whole setting was very atmospheric, which I really, really liked. I loved the festival, even though it was kind of crazy and terrifying and intimidating. It was also pretty cool. And I like the idea of Serena's magical ability to create illusions that felt lifelike. The thing is, the pacing was kind of weird because the beginning was quick and then the middle got slow and then the ending was quick. So there's that. And I also really found that the plot was a little predictable, but I mean, I thought the characters were interesting. I really liked that. There's supposedly going to be illustrations in the finished copy, which I think would be really cool. And again, like the story itself, even though I knew the outcome and I kind of guessed at a lot of the plot, there was one thing that surprised me though, to be fair. I still enjoyed it. So again, mixed feelings. I can't really give like a general recommendation for this one, so I'm gonna say like if it sounds at all interesting to you, you can go into it and see if it has the same effect on you where you enjoy the atmosphere and the characters in spite of the weird pacing and the slightly predictable plot.
I have some friends who come over to the house and play some Broadway music because that's what we like. That is not our current day job, although one of us actually is kind of in theater, the other one's a composer, and then there's me. But what does bring us together, apart from that music piece, is in our love for theater, is geek stuff. And behold, I finally was able to get a copy secondhand of
Verily a New Hope.
Verily a New Hope.
I think that's what it's
Star
called.
Wars by, I want to say Ian Dosher.
Yeah.
Probably butchered that, I apologize. But it's so good. It's so, if you like Shakespeare, and if you like Star Wars, get some friends who like both, sit them all in a corner, because that's sort of what we did, and just read through a Shakespeareanized version of A New Hope, aptly entitled Verily a New Hope. Low-key spoiler, which if only for this reason, you gotta get it. So literally R2-D2's line, yes, he's in here.
Of course he is.
R2-D2's lines are bleedy bleep blur preer, all of that stuff. And then he turns to the audience, has a soliloquy, laments whatever it is about the rebellion and life and battle and whatever. And the minute 3PO walks in, he faces 3PO and goes, bleedy bleep. He starts bleeping at 3. It's amazing. It's cheeky. It's fun. Do it with friends, right? Stage a read through. It's gonna be awesome.
My next book is actually one that I did a review for the blog tour for, so I'll link to that below, and it is The Lake Effect by Erin McCahan. Anyway, The Lake Effect is about Briggs Henry, and it basically chronicles the summer before he leaves for college. And it's one of those books where not a lot actually happens, but it has a quirky cast of characters. The main character suddenly gets a shift in his perspective because of the people he interacts with, and I actually ended up enjoying it. The pacing is kind of funny because the chapters are really short, like some of them are less than a page long, so that was interesting. And again, it's one of those things where you have to be in the right mood to read it, I'd say. So I enjoyed it. I don't necessarily think it's my favorite from her. I still think Love in Other Foreign Words was even better. But if you're looking for a contemporary YA to add to your summer reading list, then this might be one you want to check out.
I was able to grab from the New York Public Library a copy of Injustice. So there were, this is Injustice, the complete collection for year 2, and this is volume 2 of year 4. For those of you who aren't too familiar, you might have seen the video game out there, that fighting game, very Mortal Kombat meets Tekken meets every other fighting game.
It's really fun.
Where we have DC characters beating the crap out of each other, fighting game format style, in a world set where Superman loses Lois Lane and to the Joker and decides to just basically create a police state. There is that world where Clark is the bad guy, right? It's, I'd like to say, an Elseworld. It's not canon. I'm pretty sure the comics spun off from the first video game, and it's super emotional. I think for whatever reason that I was attracted to DC Comics writing, they really turned it up for this one. So I recommend it if you like pain.
Okay, that applies to most things he recommends to people. So, I haven't read chick lit in a while. And I read this one because my sister wanted me to, and it's called The Bucket List to Mend a Broken Heart by Annabelle. And the premise is, it's a girl who is grieving a breakup, and when the ex-boyfriend returns some of her stuff, she happens to find a bucket list he wrote down among her stuff, and she decides that doing all the items on the bucket list is her way to get back in his heart and win him back over. And predictably, she does all these things, she conquers her fears, and maybe realizes a few things along the way. I thought it was really fun. I find that I tend to enjoy British chick lit a lot. I don't know why that
Oh, it's
is.
British?
Yeah.
Okay.
But, so yeah, this one was enjoyable, if predictable, and even though I knew exactly how things would play out way before the end, like 2 chapters in, I was like, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, and pretty much all of it did. The pacing was a little bit weird on this one, but otherwise I enjoyed it. It was a nice change, a nice palette cleanser for me, and the cover is really nice, so there's that.
I present to you Wonder Woman War Torn. It's actually volume 7. I think it is set slightly after the New 52 and definitely before DC Rebirth. I really wanted to get into this because for months and months and months into the biggest DC like reboot craziness, I couldn't find one of my favorite Teen Titans, Donna Troy, anywhere. Until this book where they created her, and I wanted to get that backstory. So it's all in here. Obviously they revamped her entire origin story, so if you want to know what they made of Donna this time around, at least pre-rebirth, because I don't know what Donna's gonna look like there. I have a huge low-key obsession for the original Teen Titans. Dick Grayson's one of my favorite DC characters. Donna Troy is his best like buddy girl, I don't know, the bro TP of life for the Titans was actually Dick and Donna, so I do follow her, and this is where I found her, pre-52. But speaking of other DC things, boy oh boy, I only say that because I can't really curse on this channel. Detective Comics Volume 1, DC Rebirth. I had complained endlessly about the loss of Stephanie Brown and Cassandra Cain and all of my favorite pre-52 characters and how they sort of wound their way into the new place. I even kind of didn't like Robin, well, Tim Drake becoming Red Robin with like the, and I quote Stephanie Brown, who is in this, along with Tim, who is Red Robin. It's like some blah 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 blah, and then Stephanie goes, yeah, you're gonna tell me that, you who had like showgirl fairy wings, and I'm just like, if they can call Dick Pixie Boots, Stephanie's calling Tim showgirl wings. My boys and my girls are back. They're better than ever. Tim Drake is at his finest, and I can't stop talking about this book. I'm gonna take up like the next 40 minutes. So please pick up a copy of Batman Detective Comics for DC Rebirth. You owe it to yourself if you loved any of these characters at all. Batman, Batwoman, Cassandra Cain, Stephanie Brown, I won't tell you who they are here, Red Robin, and Clayface for some weird reason is in here. And it works, so I like it.
Okay, last book I read was in middle grade. It's The Emperor's Ostrich by Julie Berry, and this one, it's basically like reading a fairy tale. You know how like fairy tales can have very ridiculous premises and like weird magical things happen with no explanation whatsoever?
Like a bloody ostrich?
Basically, the story is about a girl who is looking for her family's cow. And along the way, she meets people who give her magical mustard and magical maps. Those are 2 things. And she encounters a boy whose name is Key, who is apparently a lot of different things, but he seems to just be an orphan. And she also encounters this weird dude on an ostrich. And it's just this whole weird adventure that they go on in an attempt to A, get the cow back home, B, get the figure out like where the emperor went, because the emperor has gone missing in this book. I was like thrown off because it was weird. The beginning was very strange. But eventually it slowly started picking up, and I kind of got nostalgic for all the fairy tales I used to read when I was younger, so yeah, plus there's an ostrich in the book. I mean, really, can you go wrong? There's an ostrich and a cat and a cow all together. So yeah, fun times. It's not my favorite Julie Berry, but I will definitely say it was enjoyable in the end, and it was definitely one of those books where you just have to like let go and let the author do what they want.
I'm gonna read it because there's an ostrich. This is mine now.
I haven't told you the best part, but it's a spoiler.
Aha!
We're gonna cut it out.
Best part out of all of that. There was the best part.
You know how they end up like meeting because of the ostrich? The ostrich is in love with the cow.
Oh my god.
And the cow returns his feelings. It's great.
Gives me so much feelings.
Anyway.
I'm this close to... Anyway. Yes, I will read that book. It sounds very lovely and delightful. For any Buffy fans out there and Angel fans, technically this is Buffy season 10 and they run concurrently. So for those of you who were fans of the TV series, they had these amazing crossovers. So much has happened, but it follows the same kind of formula where the characters are going to go into really weird or good places, find that those places don't really work when they have to face off against the big bad, and when they resolve their stuff and they kind of go back to what they used to be, but full circle in a more kind of I've learned better now, then they save the day. So formulaic, classic Buffy and Angel, and season 10 is, if not over, gonna end soon. Fun for the old fogies and the old timers like me.
Anyway, those are all the things that we've read so far in July. Next week, I will be sharing all of the Harry Potter stuff that we collectively own, which is a lot.
Collectively. Sorry.
It is collective, because everything is
we collect
conjugal
them.
property. Oh god.
No, they're hers. I can't even, like...
Anyway, so
like I wouldn't cry if one of the scarves went away. I was like, oh no, it's just like, oh.
I'll be talking about that.
They're hers, and it's
I'll be talking about that. And I will finally be doing a bookshelf tour.
Aha.
It's taken me forever to film, but I just finished rearranging our shelves. And I'm pretty pleased with how they turned out, so that'll be fun. He's gonna be helping. We'll see if he gets to join in the voiceovers and make snarky comments, because you guys seem to enjoy that.
That's easily the worst idea ever.
No, but I feel like it'll be more fun that way.
Oh dear.
We're gonna do it. Anyway.
Alrighty then.
Anyway, other videos that I have to film also include something about my book bullet journal, which I haven't shared yet, and the candles.
Ah, the candles.
If you guys are interested in any of the books that we talked about, or have any questions or comments about them, just leave them down below. We love hearing from you, and we try to reply. He's better at it than I am. And otherwise, you can find us on the blog or on other social media. And yeah, until next time, bye!